Welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I'm your host, Ben Cross. I'm joined by my fabulous producer, Janet Turner, my co-host. How are you, Janet?
I'm great, Ben. It's going to be so much fun today to greet all our fans here on our 100th anniversary or 100th episode.
Yeah, Chetani, right? And I got my dad here too as my co-host. Hey, Dad.
Hey, how's it going, son?
How you doing? Dad's a holdover from Father's Day. I would like to say he flew in for this episode. It's a very special moment.
But he didn't pay my way.
So. Yeah. So Dad's gonna hang tight, and then we've got some really cool things going on today. As Janet mentioned, this is our 100th episode of Love and Relo. It's been a really cool ride. We've done a lot of really neat things, and I kind of have a sense that this is just the beginning. But we wanted to kind of reflect back, and we wanted to thank the people who have been so instrumental in us building this. I mean, Janet, it's really felt kind of like a community, hasn't it?
It has. And besides hearing from everyone, we'd also, wonder if there's something more that we could do for the group. But we get so much positive feedback. And that's what the goal was, to keep us all together. We don't have conferences. We're not getting to see each other. We don't have the little panels to educate us. So we wanted this to be a platform to hopefully bring value to everyone in the Relo world and those that are not in the Relo world.
So Janet, I go on and I manage the YouTube channel, and I go back and I look at things, and I look at the first episode, I did in my office, the shadows, I didn't really know what I was talking about or what I was doing. I had the freeware version of the streaming service. And now here you are with me on this journey, and we've got community of kind of fans and participants, and it's and dialogues that are going on, and we've managed to kind of really up the content, and the quality of what we're doing, and being able to do really cool, important things like the book club, book of the month. Mm-hmm. Real quick, let's plug this book, book club, book of the month, White Fragility. Why it's so hard for white people to talk about racism. You can buy it from Janet Webster Jones at the Source Booksellers. No relation to Janet Turner. At Source Booksellers in Detroit, 313-832-1155. Again, that number is 313-832-1155. sourcebooksellers@gmail.com. It is a hard book to get a hold of. Support your local independent bookstores. We are going to be having that book club book meeting on July 2nd. I believe that's a Thursday. Am I right, Janet?
I don't remember the day of the week, but it's July 2nd.
It's a Thursday. It's a Thursday.
Okay.
Trust me. And if it's not, it's still July 2nd. So anyway, so we're going to all get together about that, talk about that. Got a bunch of people tuning in for that. We got a few people on our Facebook right now. We got a few people on LinkedIn. We're going to do something a little different today. We're actually inviting our favorite fans, and supporters. We're inviting them to the show, and we got our first one backstage right now, Janet.
We do. Let's introduce our number one fan, always the first one on, the first one to give us Mississippi weather. Can anyone guess who that is? And he was the first one to join us live today. So we welcome Jamie Masler.
Hey, Jamie. How you doing? Congratulations on your 100th episode. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamie, and thank you for always tuning in and always giving us the update from Mississippi. It's become a running joke on the show. What's the weather like in Mississippi? And I always like to know. Jamie, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you being a supporter and always being there.
Yeah.
It's been great to get to know you and Janet as well. I appreciate the book, Janet. She was so kind enough to send me, and I'm not through reading it, but she's such a loving person. That's why I love the love behind your Love and Relo. I think you bring out the best in people, and it's been quite a journey, that's for sure. You've come a long way.
And you've been a fan that's been very loving to us. We have another special guest. Can I bring him on at the same time?
Sure.
Backstage,
yeah, sure.
We have someone from the UK, I believe. We have Simon here joining us.
Hey, Simon, what's going on? How you doing?
Yeah, good. You guys okay?
We're
doing great.
What time is it over there in the UK?
There's a clock behind me.
Wow.
It's backwards to us.
Yeah, I don't know. What time zone is that? I don't even know. I can't even read that. Simon, thank you always. You're always popping in as well and dropping some comments. I remember the first time I met you, it was on a well, I say met you like this. It was on the happy hour that we did.
Yeah.
You know, and that was cool.
I remember happy hour.
You remember that, right, Jamie? The marathon happy hour, the 4-hour happy hour.
I think I was on the first marathon, and then I think the second one went on even longer.
Yeah, and then there was one for each time zone in the U.S. So there was an Eastern, a Central, a Mountain, right, and then a West Coast. And Jamie was the only one that made it to all 4 of them.
See, that's the kind of fan he is. It's amazing.
I ended up hosting the end of the 4th one.
You did end up posting that one because I did not. I was done for at that point. I was like, I got to go sit down. So, Simon, Jamie, I wanted to ask you. You know, you're always so great about tuning in. You know, what is it about Love and Relo that you really enjoy, and why do you always tune in and take time out of your day, Simon?
Well, I think you know, in these weird times, you're very much on your own. I think in sales as well, you're very isolated. It's a very solitude sort of environment you're in anyway. And then when you go down into lockdown, you are pretty much all alone completely. You know, if we weren't in lockdown, you could pick up the phone, you could speak to anybody, you can go nip out and have lunch with somebody. But I think now when you can't even go out and meet clients, it's pretty soul destroying. So I think I mentioned on a few messages I've sent to you, Ben, private messages. Certainly helped me with my mental health, which is great. I look forward to 9 o'clock in the evening, logging on. Sometimes I've got a gin, sometimes I haven't.
Most times you got gin, Simon.
Okay. Whether or not my wife's sneaking about, so I've got to be careful. But it does help. I look forward to it. Do you know what? And I've made so many great friends as well. Jamie, you've mentioned me in a few comments. I really appreciate that. Lynn Greenberg as well from Pivot, and what I love about Love and Relo is we're all people, we're all friends now, and there's no hardline sales, there's no corporate rubbish that you get normally. It's just a bunch of people who love the Relo industry, who just enjoy chit chat.
Yeah.
You know what, Ben, before we let Jamie answer, can I bring in 2 other fans to include them in this conversation?
Sure.
I don't want to keep them waiting too long. We have a very special guest, Victoria. We'll get her in on the Victoria McCullough. We'll get her in on the conversation, and as well as, I believe this is Tim. Yep. So we're allowed 6 on the set. So, at some point we might have to boot you off to get some others on, and we really don't know what this is going to look like. So bear with us.
Hey, Dad. Hey, there he is.
Everybody's asking for Ben's dad over here. I'm getting the comments here. Elena Anderson Delay, congratulations, big. Good to see Dad and Janet too. Thanks, Elena. Thanks so much. This is a party. I really appreciate y'all coming out today. This is great.
Glad for the invite.
Yeah, thanks, Victoria. Victoria, you and I have kind of developed a relationship through this platform and through some of the other stuff that we've been doing on LinkedIn and everything. I mean, why do you tune in to Love and Relo? What do you get out of it? What do you enjoy about it?
Well, first off, I enjoy you. I kind of call you my mentor. You kind of have brought me through LinkedIn, but knowing my situation almost a year ago, you've introduced me to some great people. And I tell this to everybody I talk to. A lot of times, the guests on your show, I end up connecting with them. I've had phone calls with them. They know my story. I know they're looking out for, hopefully, possible referral for a job. But more so, it's a connection that I've not had in a long time. I was just focused at work, on site at Frito-Lay for 13 years, and this whole world is new to me. And so I'm really enjoying the ride. And because of you, you brought so many people from relocation. I mean, that's why I enjoy it, and I enjoy you. You're funny.
Awesome.
Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. It's a real blessing. Thank you so much. Tim, you tune in a lot, man. I appreciate it. We've worked together, Tim, so we actually know each other in real life.
Yeah, IRL. That's what the kids say nowadays. I am a YP40 forever. You know that.
Yep.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I've been hearing about you. It seems like for decades.
Well, you've met, not decades, but you've met. He's old.
Yeah.
He's old. You've met Tim before and his wife Audrey, I think.
Okay.
At when Danny at the baby shower
yeah.
at the baby shower in Raleigh. Yeah.
Okay.
See.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I appreciate all the sage advice and and guidance you've provided him over the years.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and that's part of the reason I watch the show. Is it goes both ways. I mean, I was introduced to Ben in a work environment where I wasn't introduced to him very in a great environment. I came in a way that Ben knew nothing about the fact that I was going to be arriving that day, and I basically showed up, and it certainly should have looked to Ben like I was there to do what he was already doing at the company, and the way that he accepted me and immediately became my ally from day one. And he has taught me so much about managing, being with people, understanding the great ideas and finding the great ideas and intelligence of those people that are younger and older in an organization. And I truly have become a better manager, a better person in general, and use some of those strategies to help me become a better father. So when I found out that Ben was doing a daily show, I mean, I'd listen if I can. I'd listen, even if I get nothing out of it, but just seeing that beautiful mug. I mean, come on!
And shouting out Western New York, putting Western New York on the map.
WNY, that's right. It's big. I saw it on a TV commercial yesterday, man.
Hey Tim, thank you for saying those kind things, man. I really, really, really appreciate it. We've been through a lot, and that's really cool. I appreciate you saying those things. Drew,
we have some fans of the fans.
Fans of fans.
Yeah.
What
Jamie is the man. West Coast rock the end of that block.
Yes, sir.
Are we got rhymes now? Are we freestyling in the comments? What is going on? Let's see here. Let's go through some comments here real quick here. We got some more people coming in backstage here. All right, let's see here. Go ahead, Janet.
I might have to kick some people off. We're sorry. We appreciate it, but we wish we could have you all on at once. So
thank you for the time.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Simon.
Simon, thank you.
All right.
Let's see who else.
Jamie, I wanted to ask you, Jamie and Tim, while I've got you and we're bringing on more people here. What are some of the things you think maybe where we could take the show, or maybe some things that we could do? Hey, Mark. Hey, Laura. How's it going? It's hard to manage proper hellos, proper goodbyes, and in the middle. So bear with me, okay? This is a new test. But we're talking right now though about where do we see the show going, and what can we do, and what are some of the things that we can try to accomplish? Because I think it's really important for us to push the boundaries and try to add more and more and more value. Constantly be trying to disrupt ourselves in a way. And so I'd love any ideas or anything that you think that you would love to see.
Well, I think once things start moving again, I think a couple more on location type shows would be incredible. Especially at a conference, which we hope we have a conference again. But I think if you did on location at a couple of your episodes with Janet's help and to make it go seamlessly, I think that would be a real plus.
Yeah, I love that idea, Jamie.
And Ben, another thing that I love about our industry, whether it's moving and storage or the greater relocation industry, is, and we see it on your show all the time, the people that are involved in this industry believe that the nice guy doesn't always lose. And they're the kind of people that you could, even though we don't do this because it's not our current business atmosphere, but you could make an agreement with a handshake and a word.
Mm-hmm.
So I say continue to find and showcase those people.
I think the other thing, what I like about podcasting in general is it's the new media, right? So it's flipping the whole world media on its head in other sectors too, where, you know, truth can come out without it being filtered or you know, censored in any way. And you know, we can actually have, I believe, a much, much stronger voice, which we've never had before. We needed our associations to do it. We'd also had political connections, etc. You know, and this is, you know, the actual people who do the work now have got a voice. And after 100 shows, you're already so far advanced. But, you know, this isn't even the beginning yet. You know, this is just going to get exponential. And you know how much I believe in it, Ben.
I'm sorry, guys, but I got to remove 2 of you to bring in some more guests. So, Jamie,
All right, Tim and Jamie, I'll see you later.
thanks for
Thank
we
you,
love you guys.
Thank you, guys.
We love
Thank
you.
you.
Love you guys.
So we have
Hey.
we have Elena,
Oh, Elena's
and we
coming
have
on.
Ryan.
Oh, wow. Look at Elena and Ryan coming in. Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's going on? How you guys doing?
It's good to see you.
Hey, congratulations.
Thanks, Elena. And Laura, I haven't even got to say hello to you.
Hello. I'm glad I'm invited to the party because I'm a late. I think I only see maybe about 10 of your shows, so I'm honored to be on. What I love about the show is it's just so real. Like ditto to what Simon had said. You know, you're on lockdown. I come from a different side of the mobility. I'm the real estate agent. And then you guys move them. So I'm so appreciative in the education of what it takes to move people. Because then I get, you know, I find the apartment and then they move or the buy, the sell and stuff like that. So just the acronyms to begin with, when I first connected, I said, who is this guy? What is he all about? But then, again, when you're before COVID, you have a way of selling and you have a way of meeting people, and then you're on lockdown. And I always loved LinkedIn, but from one person it goes to another person and then another person, and I've met so many people because of you. I just had a great conversation this morning with I forgot his name already. The one you just had on.
Jamie?
Aaron
Flores.
Aaron Flores. Yeah.
I spoke with him. I spoke with Victoria, Francine Dresty. I mean, I formed all of these relationships. That's and awesome. They educated me about mobility. So I'm just so honored and That's appreciative. Awesome.
Thank you, Laura. And I remember getting into this business too, and not realizing the full spectrum of services that are offered under global mobility. And it's really mind-boggling. I think sometimes people want me to focus on one, but I think it's also important to start to understand the spectrum and where we fit in, and then what are our clients thinking about? Because oftentimes we think our clients just care about real estate. We think our clients just care about moving, but the truth is they're worrying about some sort of compensation, thing, or some COLA issue or something else that was not even on our radar. Yeah. Elena, you got a lot of experience with the full spectrum. What do you get out of the show? What do you think about it, Elena?
Well, I started out just lurking, just watching, trying to see what was going on. I didn't engage immediately, but I do appreciate you having the show, kind of making it relevant and sexy as an industry. And there's something for everyone to learn, whether it's the intercultural communication and just, life as in the relocation industry, how that is. So you've managed to introduce us all to each and every facet of the industry, whether it's HR to the taxes and obviously, to the immigration side of it. So I've been able to nerd out, but also feel that connection like everyone else has said.
Well, I don't think these things are mutually exclusive, right? I think we can be intelligent and have personalities, right?
Right.
It's like sometimes we feel like we're not allowed to be our personhood, like we're not allowed to be people. We just have to be a white paper, or we be people, but we can't talk about work, and it's like I think that we can put those things together, and I think it gets a lot more interesting when we do. So.
You know what? I just want to say this has felt uncomfortable for me, saying that I'm kicking people off. And my good friend Ro, who's not in the industry but a fan, just texted me and said, Janet, maybe try rotating people off that may want to hang out backstage. So I'm not saying let me kick them out. So I apologize. We're trying to figure this out, but that's a great idea. So that's what we could do.
So you can rotate me off.
Thank you, Laura.
Do what you need to do, Janet.
And we'll have you, maybe we'll have you on the show, Laura. Be a guest. Come in and be a guest.
Pleasure.
Laura,
Okay,
thank
see
you so much.
everybody.
My
Thank you.
dad ate the cannolis last night. He loved them.
Good.
She was the cannoli person, Dad.
Those were wonderful.
Hey, Ben and Dad, I just wanted to pop on. I know you got a lot of people in the back. I just wanted to say congratulations. And hey, Dad, how you doing? And Ben, I mean, listen, I kind of on Friday at the YP40, we talked about how we met there. And I remember being in Boston with you, and you and I were talking about how you were waiting for the approval to be able to get on this platform, and what you've done with it. I'm not surprised, but congratulations, man, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you very much.
Thanks, Ryan.
Absolutely, guys. Keep up the great work, all right?
Take care. Go Dane. Take care. But Mark and Elena, hey, Brian, how's it going? Good to see you, by the way.
Hey, guys.
Callie. Mark and Elena, though, and Brian, I want to continue to think also in terms of things that we can do with the program, right? Because what's cool about it is it's not affiliated with a company. It's not affiliated with an association. We can be extremely nimble, right? We can really kind of follow truth and perspective. And I would love to know where do you think there's a gap maybe that can be filled?
Well, I'll go, Brian, on you go.
I can speak. I'll speak. I know me and Ben, I don't know if you remember, but a few weeks ago, we kind of spoke about this. I'm fairly new, and I say fairly new, a couple years in global mobility. Your show is packed full of people that have been doing it for a very long time, and the information that you can get from them, how seasoned some of these folks are, is very impressive. And I wish I could just snap my fingers and have that. Me and you talked about, I don't know if you recall, but maybe more perspective, maybe for folks that are a little bit newer to the industry, that, what are they doing? How are they navigating? Some of the regionals have kind of mentorship programs that have been extremely helpful. But maybe some perspective for other folks that are kind of jumping in year one, year two, and kind of what they're doing to kind of find their way outside of really aligning with a lot of veterans in the industry. That's just some perspective. I don't know how much that would resonate with other folks, but yeah, that would be my piece. And one, I want to say congratulations to you both. And I'll say what everyone probably has already said and is going to say. Being in the industry for a couple years.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
No.
We have a little technical difficulty with.
Mark, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I think we as you develop, you can have, like Brian said, some educational days, or bi-weekly or something. A show. I think we just need to continue to get the message out to the industry that we need to do, and just make sure you get all these different facets of the global mobility spectrum. That it's not just moving related or tax or immigration. Just get that whole thing together. I think the book club is an amazing idea. That's already bringing some great education, and you can make some points and give some people help in mental health, or now we have racism, or whatever topics you want to get in there. I think it's very good. And you can also support some of these authors that need help with their book sales.
So one thing you brought to me was the PPP issue, right? And that was not getting any advocacy at the association level. It was not getting really nobody wanted to address it, and nobody wanted to really come out front and say, this needs to be looked at, and here's XYZ things that we need to, champion. Everybody was kind of just brushing it on the rug and say, oh yeah, we're doing it, but then it wasn't getting really done in execution. And then the association wasn't putting out best practices because they're waiting for the CDC. And then the clients are putting out what they think, but that's not really in keeping with state and local guidelines. So, these are some of the issues I think where we have an opportunity to be more nimble and really get out front and start to give voices for experts who actually have opinions on these things. Elena, I know there's things happening in immigration right now, that need
absolutely,
to be, right?
Especially with the Supreme Court's decision to keep DACA, but it's still at risk, and oftentimes just what's happening with various visa situations that practitioners as well as the employees are facing. And I see this platform as a way to really talk about, to crowdsource issues that could kind of get vetted or materialize a little bit more deeply later. But what if you're working on a new policy with your organization? What if you want to crowdsource ideas, going through changes, and you really want to kind of do a really fast benchmarking process? And this forum is so agile. We can do all of that. We can advocate for change. We can kind of talk through recent things, and we can also kind of encourage others to be authentic and transparent and open about the challenges they're facing with their organizations and with their businesses.
Yeah, and also across the globe, across the whole
That's
globe
right.
as well, right? I mean, this is, I mean, this. I can't imagine how confinement would have been 6 years ago without this kind of media and technology, right?
Well, that's a great point, and so I want to get deeper in areas. We kind of talked about that, and I'm there like on moving, but I'd like to get deeper on immigration. I need people that have that deep knowledge to understand the nuances and understand the subtleties of what needs to be done there. So I welcome people who are subject matter experts, or those of you out there who are friends of the program to refer me people that I can touch on, and rely on to bring that forward. And then Mark, you bring up a great point of perspective as well around the globalness of it all, and we struggle with time zone changes, but I want to focus more on Asia. I want to incorporate more European. I've done a little bit. I want to incorporate more. LATAM, Latin America. We're going
You
to
already have a Brazilian consortium.
Yeah.
We're trying to get Brazil week going. We're trying to get LATAM week going. I would love to do the same thing. I would love to do the same thing with Africa. Where's Africa in global mobility right now? Especially sub-Saharan, right? Africa. India. We're working with some people right now in India. And tons of talent coming out of that region. Love to understand how people are doing it. In fact, actually tomorrow we have a Indo-Finnish global mobility expert, Silva Pananen. So just all these things are on the table, and I kind of need the community's help, because I'm just a dude in Detroit. I need the community's help. Y'all are kind of the fingers of the show out there, and just bring people in and let me know, and I appreciate it so much.
I'm going to bring Ann Knapp on to
Hey,
us and
how's everybody doing?
Good to see you.
Congratulations.
Ann's like our #1 book club panelist. She's always there to be on our book club panels.
I like to read.
And you've been such a great supporter, Ann. I appreciate you so much. Why do you care, Ann? Why do you care to show up for me and support?
Well, I think, first of all, for a dude in Detroit, a dude from Detroit, right, you've done a pretty remarkable thing here. This is, as people have said, this is something that our industry has been missing, I think. I think we've needed something that was maybe more informal, maybe more personal, to really get to those issues. Because we've all been to conferences where you go to a session excited about a topic, and you don't really ever feel like you get to the heart of the topic. And I feel like this show does that in a really great way. And that's what keeps bringing me back over and over and over again. I think it's important.
thank you, Ann, and I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of people say to me, gosh, an hour, really? Like, that's a long time. Don't you think we could do this like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour? And I'm like, well, first of all, y'all gonna understand 15 minutes is just shouting people out in the comments. But I think it takes time to dig into the nuance of an issue, right? And to get past the superficial talking points and get down into the second order effects and the root cause analysis of things. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Ann. Thank you.
Yeah, and last week we did have a 30-minute show and everyone was wanting more. So, it works. I'm going to bring Lynn.
Because an hour just isn't really a long time. It's really not.
It's really not, right?
Yeah,
I mean, how often do we talk to our friends on the phone for an hour and it just flies by?
Yeah.
And,
it
whatever,
seems like
right?
a lot of time, but it's really not at all, especially when you get really going and rolling on a topic. It's like, oh no, it's over already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Yeah, exactly. Lynn, hey, welcome.
Congrats. Big milestone today.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's a big number. It's kind of crazy to think, but it was only 6 months probably to do this, right? And there's 220 something working days in a year. And if we do it daily, then we should be able to hit 200 by the end of the year. But that also, Lynn, I'd love to ask you, as a founder of a disruptor company, my 2-year-old screaming. I don't know if you can hear.
Talk about disruptors.
Okay. Yeah. But where do you think we could take the show and what can we do, that maybe hasn't been done or serve the mobility industry in a way that hasn't been done yet?
First of all, I think you already have. When I entered the mobility space a couple of years ago, being an outsider, it was really kind of daunting, and I didn't really know where to start. And Love and Relo has really provided a lot of direction and community. I've learned a ton just by tuning into your show. And so, I think you've already done a tremendous amount in bringing the industry together, bringing service providers, into the mix, and also just kind of staying up to date on trends and encapsulating that everyone's all in this together. In terms of, what we can do going forward, let's get you on the big screen. How can we make that happen?
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm a pretty big guy. It'd have to be a big screen, but I don't know. I mean, I think that's a great point too. I mean, I've thought about, how do we, because we got an hour a day, but it's only an hour a day. And there's so many verticals within global mobility. And then there's so much nuance and so many topics. So let's use immigration, right? Well, there's 170 countries or whatever. So there's immigration issues in each country. I mean, that in itself could be a daily hour, right? Yeah. Tax strategies in the US and then 170 countries, there's implications. Customs, right, Mark? I mean, every country you go to, you got different customs, requirements for household goods and logistics and port closures and issues, right? So I would love to build it out even more and get to the point where we had subject matter experts within all the verticals doing an hour a day, so that if you wanted to take a deep dive on immigration issues in UK, you could tune into that and you could take a deep dive on that. So that's where I would love to get to, almost like a full network with a full-blown programming schedule. I think that'd be.
I'm gonna rotate Mark out for a minute. And
okay, guys.
Drew Phillips. So
Mark,
you want to hang out? Mark,
congratulations. Well done.
Thank you for the support, Mark. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
And it would also be great to kind of do some Anthony Bourdain-esque, type of around the world with Ben Cross.
Me and Aaron Flores.
Oh my gosh, that would be fun.
Oh my God.
That would be fun.
Yeah, start with Dallas for sure.
That would be great. Yeah.
That's what we should do, the on location thing. So now I go visit everybody, and now we go have lunch somewhere or dinner somewhere, and then we do it.
Yeah, hit a topic and hit some food and the drink of the country. That's amazing. I have to come along with you now.
Yeah, not yet.
Now I'm not going to complain about the full-time job. So we have Drew Phillips just joined us, who's a big fan of ours. So
I love it,
Drew.
guys. Oh, thank you guys. Hey, guys. Big fan. living in California, the California dream, whatever that is these days. And now that you're stuck in your house, but yeah, man, Ben, look, Janet, Ben, everyone who's been a contributor, I appreciate it because, as many have said, listen, it's live, it's real, it's transparent, Benny, it's it's relevant to what we're doing, and what in the heck else would we have done with ourselves if we did not have Ben to push the envelope, to face fear. Quite frankly, I don't even think it was fear. I think Ben loves this stuff, and I appreciate that, because while many would like to do it, none will, and you do, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Drew. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate you. Drew, is there any topics you'd love to see covered? I'm always looking for ideas.
Man, listen, just listening to everyone else speak, this thing can take just so many different turns, right? I mean, it's relevant on so many different aspects. It's entrepreneurial on so many different aspects. I mean, I don't mean to scare anybody, but Ben can become his own big thing. So watch out. Listen, I think just keep staying up with the, as they said in high school, right? Current events. And you bring them, right? You bring them from taco joint parking lots. You release them as they hit. And the great thing about it, Ben, is again, I'm a huge fan of transparency, right? Whatever you bring, you always bring either, you say, hey, listen, this is my opinion, or this is my however many years of experience, or I'm bringing on somebody who really knows what is up with this subject. And that pure honesty is awesome, and I appreciate it. So super props, kudos to you. You deserve 1,000 more plus. And I say just keep bringing the facts, right? Just keep bringing the real live news, if you will, as it pertains to our industry. I love it. Cool. I eat it up. It's great.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys
much. We did a little format here with the squares here. Who else? Do we have anybody waiting backstage that hasn't had a chance?
We have Tim still hanging out with us.
Yeah, you can bump me off if you need.
Yeah.
Well,
me as well.
Okay. All right. Elena, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me. Congrats again.
Thank you for your sponsorship too, Lynn, as well too.
My pleasure.
And keep bringing the guests to me as well, please. Keep feeding me names and stuff of people you'd love to see who have a voice and a unique perspective. Really appreciate that. We need that. Sometimes people don't raise their hand all the time, but if you give them a little
if you volunteer them or guilt them.
That's it. Thank you, Elena. I appreciate you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Awesome.
Bring Tim back in.
There's Timmy. Ooh. You didn't know you were coming back, did you, Tim?
You know what? I told Janet, I'm going to be here, and if Ben falls and it's a trust exercise, I'm going to be there to pick him up.
Tim was just backstage eating all the M&Ms in the green room. Appreciate it.
That's right. Girl Scout cookies.
Is there a book? Let me ask you this. We're doing books, right? So we got White Fragility this month. Next month, we've got Fear is My Homeboy for July, which was a recommendation from Francine Dresky.
August.
In August.
Maybe that Go Giver was huge. That was fun.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? Yeah. If you know of a book, so that's where I was going with this. If you've got a book that you'd love to see us do or love to participate in, especially if it's not a huge book and we can actually get the author on, because this book is too huge apparently. Robin DiAngelo is a big deal now, so we can get a kind of sort of big deal book but not a real big deal book,
like a medium deal book. Medium,
not such a great deal.
Medium, yeah.
Yes, medium deal. That would be great. Oh my gosh.
And your hair looks lovely today. Thanks.
I did absolutely nothing to it. It's actually working out in my favor for once.
There you go.
Oh, the natural look is great. It's perfect.
Yes, it is. It's the joy of working from home. It's like
you've earned it.
Yeah, right?
You've suffered through, you've earned it. Do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Oh, wonderful. We got people checking in here. Shout out to Ildi, which is Mark's wife. There you go. Kelly Cockrell says Ben should be the MC for the next in-person WERC conference.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We have Hosea
Second that.
backstage. So
That'd
who's
be
ready to rotate
Oh
out?
yeah, you can rotate me out. Let Hosea
Okay,
come
if
on.
you want to hang out, and we'll bring you back in. We thank you so much, Ann.
Thank you, Ann.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
you very much.
Congratulations again. Keep up the great work.
Thanks so much.
And here he is, Hosea Botley.
Hey,
to the show.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
It's going good, man. Just hanging with my buddies, you know, hanging with the friends here. Running out of questions. I only had 2 questions. I was going to ask everybody, and then everybody came together and answered the questions. And now I'm at 40 minutes. So Hosea, real quick, want to know, and I say real quick, please take your time. Want to know, why do you tune into the show, Hosea? You're always such a good friend of the show and supporter.
Well,
take time to
you know, you have so much insight on the industry itself. You know, it's what I love about it. You know, I thought, you know, Ben, we've talked so many times about this show, and when you was getting it off the ground, and I kept pushing you to say, hey, man, don't give up. Keep going. It's going to happen. It's going to click, you know. And here you are, you know. Congratulations, you know. Congratulations to you and Janet both. Janet, thank you so much. He'd be lost without you.
Give Janet a hand here. Let's give Janet a round of applause there.
Getting to the place that'd be lost without him too. So,
Yeah. You know, but I still say we need to get a YP50 and over.
okay, I'm working
That's
on
right.
it. I'm working on it.
That's right.
I'll tell you what.
I thought it was YP. It's OP60.
Well, OP50.
Well, yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what.
OP50 is just ERC. Okay, that's ERC.
Yeah,
All right,
Ben keeps giving me a hard time. He likes the OP60 because he feels like the in between the 40 and the 50 is all ERC.
Y'all just got to figure it out. If you're 45, you're just regular. You got
You know
to.
what? We're just not feeling the love from the young guys anymore, young people anymore, you know?
Wow.
Hey,
I had a really nice green room experience with the YP40 group on Friday. That was on the ERC YP40 group. And at first I was very intimidated because I don't know, they're just like very smart young people. And, but anyway, it was really amazing, you know, afterwards where I got to share with them what I was feeling. And it was totally the opposite of what they were feeling towards me. So it's something we have to work on as the mature people in the industry is be open to be mentored up, like Ben and I always talk about, and also to be a mentor down. So
Right. No, absolutely.
well, Janet, you know what you're talking about is so interesting because I think what we're doing here too is the reason we've created community is because we're breeding familiarity, and when you have familiarity, it dispels a lot of the misperceptions, I think, right, or misconceptions, right? So just to be specific, Janet, I'm gonna say this. You know, Janet was feeling like, you know, well, you got this YP40 group. Where do I fit in this group? You know, and they're like, what are you talking about? We want to hear what you have to say. We want to hear your knowledge. We want you to share your wisdom with us, you know? And so I think there's sometimes when you look at people who are different than you, or you think they're different from you. And by the way, let me tell you a secret. We're all the same. We're 99.9999999 the same, right? We're just at a different, you know, part of our life or whatever, have a different background, but we're all the same. You know, we all want what's best for our families and to kind of advance our careers and everything and make a difference as well, make a difference in our families' lives, you know. But so as we become more familiar with one another, and I think that's what's cool about this show from my personal perspective and the people that are in the comments, then we start to feel like we know people. I mean, there's people on this show, you know, Lynn, I've never met you in real life, right? In the flesh, you know, but I feel like I know you. I mean, same for Jamie and Elena, you know, and so many people, right? But we're tight now. And so I think that's one of the beautiful things of this program as well.
Well, Ben, as a 2-decade member of the YP40 group, I do want to say that's huge, and that's and the more that all of our different generations, if you will, whatever letter or saying is after our name, the more we can get together, the better it is. It really does become magical when you know somebody who maybe his mind is a little closed about what they can be taught or what they can teach, more so. it's just amazing the success and the things that can happen.
Yeah.
It breaks down barriers, right? Builds confidence, builds knowledge with all the sharing. I think it's great. And Tim, two decades YP40. I call that an OG YP40.
Yeah, OG YP.
OG YP40. Let it roll, man.
That's
yep,
what
OG YP. That's Janice and OG YP, in my opinion. And listen, I remember just as all of you, I think, have shared here today, just coming in new, fresh to the industry. I can remember meeting Ben for the very first time out in Boston on a boat. We were both third-party vendors, and running around trying to do the thing, right? And we found ourselves next to each other in a bus, wondering, okay, where is this bus going, and what am I supposed to be doing right now? And so between Ben and Frank from Relo Trans and some other just great OG people in the industry, kind of taking us and guiding us through, I learned a lot, right? I learned a ton that in that 48 hours of walls being broken down, people sharing, and just being good-natured people. Great industry to be in. So yeah, knock those walls down, knock those titles down, just commune with each other, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, you guys watch a lot of the episodes. Do you have a particular one that was like a favorite or a favorite guest or anything? I love playing favorites, by the way. Even though I'm an inclusive person, I love playing favorites.
I mean, Hosea, his show was for me. It may be the only time I've cried watching Love and Relo. So I mean,
wow,
if you could move me to laugh or move me to cry, then that's a big thing. And so yeah, that was I cried, I laughed, and I learned maybe more on that show than any other one.
That was definitely a good one for sure. Agreed. Ben, to share and continue, I say Bill Grable, right? That was another just massively transparent individual that was open to share, be honest, say, what's going on. I've made some mistakes, even things of that nature. I mean, that is just, again, educational, confidence building, breaks down barriers and walls, just said it like it was and was an open book.
Yeah, for him to come in. Yeah, thank you, Drew. For him to come in and say, basically COVID hit and we were at a loss, and we just junked the presentation, and we just sat down, pulled up chairs, and asked people how they were feeling and what their questions were. Like, I mean,
that's real talk.
Real talk for sure.
Yeah, I think, Ben, your show really humanizes everyone in the industry, which I think is huge, because I think it's such a big industry. There's so many different players, and it really just makes it more communal and easier to break down.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
Janet, what was your favorite episode?
Well, I just answered this last week. But I have so many. I mean, I have so many, but I agree with Tim. I mean, Jose and Andrew was on my top, but there's so many, of course, that I've gotten to know so many people, and it's been great. I get to greet everyone. I mean, Drew's an example too. I don't even know. We just connected because of the show. Lynn, the same thing. Hosea, same. And I get to know what kind of music Drew is listening to, and there's just so many. But I have to say, Hosea and Andrew was one of my favorites, and the book club with Julie Kratz, the interview with Julie was pretty. I thought was pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a hard one to do too, because there were parts of that book that were difficult for me, and that I didn't like the way I felt when I read it, and I told her, I was like, I don't know if I understand this, and help me understand, and that was kind of cool too. And I think what I like, I appreciate what everybody's saying about humanizing too, and I think it's cool when we can come on and we can admit we don't always have the answer. Yeah. But talk about how we're trying to get there, right? Because I think that's how everybody that's watching it. That's where we all are. We don't know the answer. We're just trying to figure out how to get there. So I went to the bullpen over here. I got my dad. Dad, what was your favorite episode?
I don't know. I don't know a lot about your industry. Obviously, I'm in the behavioral health field, but I think the thing that I appreciate is the more generalized content and echoing what a lot of these people are saying, the transparency. Son, you remind me a lot of my mother, your Grammy. Your love for people. And you got a big mouth. You're not shy.
Agree.
About like white fragility. By the way, my mother, when the Jim Crow laws were repealed, she grabbed me and took me to black sections of Dallas, registering voters. Back when they were killing white people, for doing that. And, today people think about, how could you do such a thing? But, that was just her heart. And it was the willingness to make a difference. And that's what I applaud, about your son. Another thing is that you are always willing to not only share, but also to hear. You're always. I mean, he calls me almost on a daily basis. This is Dan Benner's Cross the Fourth.
There's 2, 3, and 4 right there.
There you go.
Yeah, Ben, why don't you share with the audience, and I want to hear more of what you're saying, Mr. Cross, but just quickly share with the audience what your middle name is.
Oh,
Or your first name, or
my first name is Dan.
Yeah.
My name is Dan Benner's Cross the Third.
Dan Benners.
That's my full name.
That's where the Ben comes from. So
right.
I think that's interesting.
Dan Benner's Cross Jr., Dan Benner's Cross the Third, Dan Benner's Cross the Fourth. Although he wants you to know he is 5.
Okay.
So don't get it twisted with the numbers there. It's very.
I got it. Noted. Never make that mistake. Even when you're 25, you'll be 5. Because I won't let it go.
You say hello to everybody? No.
But please continue, Mr. Cross. Sorry to interrupt.
Just saying that we talk on a daily basis, and he's always asking for input, advice, and that's where your name, Tim, has often come up over the last decade. Your openness. The thing that impresses me is not only his willingness to speak out on things that may be controversial, but his willingness to learn and keep learning. And my goodness, I remember when he graduated from college, it took you a year to find a job, and he started out, it was an entry level at Pods on, in the call center. But he learned very fast, because he was always asking questions, and he was always reaching out to learn. And he does that with his old man. I don't know what the heck OG means, but
original gang.
Oh, okay. Okay. So at any rate, but that is a mutual thing. And I listen to you maybe more than I let on, but it's with Ben, it's very much a give and take. And I think that's what, your love for people and that openness, and believe it or not, humility to
believe it or not
to receive as well as give is I think are attractive traits, son. And
thanks, Dad.
Yeah,
appreciate you, man.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Ben, you stuck Dad in the corner, and he comes out with that. Like, seriously,
the closer. He's in the bullpen. That's the closer.
Look,
he
man,
can only pitch 1 inning. Okay, you can't go 9. All right.
Oh man,
I do have something to read from Francine, another big fan. If you don't mind me just reading. Her father-in-law passed away, so we send our regrets to her family. So she couldn't be with us today, but she said she was lucky enough to find the show shortly after she started working from home because of COVID restrictions. I have learned so much about relocation, mobility, diversity, building relationships from watching your show. The Love and Relo show has been a treasured place during this crazy time where we can all lean in to learn, engage, and connect in ways that we have not been able to do before. Ben and Janet are so selfless. They invest so much of their time to make sure that they are bringing their best selves and the best guests on the show to help connect and develop us during this time. I look forward to every show, and I want you to continue to develop this community. Watching the show, you know why love is in the title. Love is an action word, and Ben and Janet are all about putting their love for people into action and serving others. We all play different parts in this amazing orchestra of relocation and life, and I'm grateful to Ben and Janet for answering the call and adding value every day.
Well said. Well said.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Francine.
Thank you, Francine. We love you. Thoughts and prayers to your family as well.
Yes, and we have somebody to come in and join us. It's Mena is that from Dubai? So I'm going to rotate, Tim, if you don't mind. I'll rotate you.
You can rotate me as well. Whoever.
Okay.
I know. I think I'm the longest.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Lynn.
Appreciate it.
And here we go. Here's Mena.
Hey, Mena, how's it going?
Yeah, fantastic. Yes, I'm just the only one from this part of the world, Middle East and Africa. So congratulations, Ben. And actually, when the first time by coincidence, I was opening LinkedIn and I watched your show. I got attracted to the show and your way of communicating and dealing with the interviews. And honestly speaking, this part of the world, global mobility or the concept of the relocation is not there much. However, the Middle East is hot country, full of expatriates, and I think that you have to make some interview with the Middle East people, and you will understand. And this is something you have to put it in your plan, and I'm happy to support you anyway.
Excellent.
Wow.
I'm taking notes, Mena.
There's the connection you were asking for earlier in that region. There you go. Ask and you shall receive, Ben.
Mena, please feel free to reach out to people who are leaders, who are thought leaders, who have phenomenal personal stories. The two things, if you've been on the show before, the two things that I always say to people are what's a story that you're uniquely positioned to tell? Maybe it's an experiential story or something that's happened to you in your life that is interesting. And what is a story or an angle or a perspective that is not being talked about enough, right? And either of those two things or both are great ideas for shows. So Mena, if you know anybody in that region, please, we'd love to have them on.
Okay, sure, Ben.
Mena, what time is it in Dubai?
It's 1 a.m.
Wow.
Wow.
Man, I told you I like your way, and actually, as I mentioned, that this part of the world, they are not just. I'm passionate about what I'm doing as a relocation and mobility, and that's why I just I follow the steps and just go around and stay awake till I get what I want. So it's just
wow, love that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mena. Appreciate you. Mena, what was your you tune in almost every day, Mena, and I always appreciate you putting comments in. I love when people don't just watch, but they actually get involved in the conversation and put comments in. It makes it even more fun for everybody, and better for the viewer that's leaving the comments, I think, because then they can network. But Mena, what has been your favorite episode, or one of your favorite episodes, or one of your favorite guests, or something that stuck out to you?
Yes, I think Bill Garble. It's just it was one of the best episodes. I learned a lot from it, and I think because he's a special leader. So yes, I get amazed with this show.
Which one? I'm sorry, it cut out for one moment.
Bill Garble.
Oh yeah, the Bill Grable show was that was a good one. That was We should have people vote. Because a lot of people voted for Bill Grable. A lot of people vote for Hosea.
Yeah.
You should make a poll. That's what we should do, actually. You know what, Janet? Can we throw that up on the poll? We only got a few minutes left. I don't know how many people are still watching here.
Well, the show with Valicia and John last week was pretty good as well.
Oh, Yeah. That was a great one. That was a great one. You know what? That was a great one. And the content was some of the best that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody cried, Hosea. Okay, nobody cried. All right, that's like a 9. You can only get to a 9 if nobody cries. Okay.
Yeah.
That was yeah. So and I think this is a perfect example, right? So we take you and Andrew's stories, right, where you're talking about your personal experiences, talking from the heart, and then we take Valencia, John, and Alan, right, and where we're talking more about like strategies companies can employ. We're kind of tackling a similar issue, kind of the same issue, but one from the standpoint of personal perspectives, and another from the standpoint of like kind of more using our frontal cortex and not our heart, you know? And I think the difference, that's the difference, and that's why it's love and relo, right?
Exactly.
Because we're just talking about relo, it only gets to a 9. But when you bring the love in, it gets to a 10, you know?
Right. Absolutely.
Plus, for sure.
Nothing against Valencia, John, and Alan. That was a great show, y'all.
That was a great show, yeah.
We got another vote for Bill Grable.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Pierre. Pierre, I appreciate you, Pierre. You've been commenting a lot lately. I'd love to know what you get out of the show as well. Mena, Hosea, Tim, Drew, is there anything? I mean, you're here. You're our last guests. Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share? I'd love to go around the horn here. Mena, I'm going to start with you and kind of go the other way there.
I think that the new people who are involved in the global mobility and the relocation industry, I think we need more to adapt them and just to educate them. So I think especially, I will tell you, especially from this part of the world, from Africa and Middle East, because this region is not discovered yet. And I'm very I'm very offended to this region. so actually I think yes, I think you have, I think maybe in the next couple of months you should focus more in other regions anyway, not in US. I think just explore and distribute yourself in Asia or Europe or Africa. So I will tell you just good luck, and if you need any support from my side, I'm happy to support you. I'm still in Dubai, so it's just I can support you.
Mena, I appreciate that. You are half the people I know in Dubai. So if you would actually take it upon yourself to recruit guests in that region, I'd be happy to have them. So go crazy out there in Dubai. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mena. Thank you so much. Hosea?
Well, I definitely have to agree with Mena. I think you need to expand globally. I think there's so many people that you can reach, and you have the perfect platform for it. And I just think that the diversity inclusion issue, keep pushing that, definitely, for sure.
We'll do.
We have a lot of work to do there.
We're going to keep the conversation going, Hosea. And actually, I got an email that I'm going to write to Lynn Shotwell, the president of Worldwide ERC, asking her for a session where we actually do a session on DE&I, as well as a networking session for people of color and for minority professionals in relocation, because I think we can do a lot more, for sure.
Yeah, great.
Tim.
Ben, I saw an interview with the singer Adele not too long ago, and she was asked a question about what will she do in the future, and she was very nervous about answering that. And the person interviewing her said, as soon as you realize that you're Adele, you won't have any problems answering these questions. And so I say that to you, as soon as you realize that you're Ben Cross, and you know that every day, and you know that you are the right man to do this, just remember that every day. And we'll see things that are beyond any of our thoughts of where this can go.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you, man. You've always been a source of encouragement, so thank you very much. Drew, anything you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I guess I would like to say, rather than considering us the last guests of today's show, I would like to be the first guests of the next 100. It's a very diverse panel. It's a very loving panel. It's a great way to start off the next 100. And look, Ben, I'm not one to tell anybody what to do. I'm thankful for what you, Janet, are doing, what you've put out there. And I would just say and encourage you to continue to do your thing, follow your heart, because it's led you here. And I'm looking at a screen full of awesome individuals that otherwise may not be in a setting together, right? So I thank you for that. And I say, go on with confidence, my friend, and I can't wait to see what comes next.
Thank you so much, Drew. We'll have to refer to the next 100 episodes as AD, right? So there'll be the BC, which is Ben Cross, and then there'll be the AD after Drew. The next 100 after Drew. So awesome. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Hosea.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, Mena. I appreciate you being here so much.
Yes.
Janet, let's wrap up here and just talk for a moment here. Thanks, John Zilka, also for checking in. He's a friend of the program. Congrats, Ben. You filled the content void in the industry, and we all appreciate your leadership here. Thank you so much, John. It means the world. Janet, this has been wonderful. I really appreciate you so much, Janet. When you reached out to me and wanted to support this project, I didn't want to let you because I was like, this is a lot of work. And I didn't know
what I was getting myself into.
I know, and you kept asking, and I feel like that was like a God thing or something because you kept asking, and I was like, you know what? And it was a thing for me too, where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to get where I want to go by myself, and I need you, and God puts you in my life, to help us get where we're going. And thank you so much, Janet, for being there for me. It means the world to me.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing it. And, as we touched on, I've been educated with each and every episode. I've been educated technology wise with the StreamYard, in so many different ways. I've been blessed and I continue to learn. I've met so many people, and sometimes I get a little bit nervous, and then I just keep going with the flow with you. And it's been an amazing blessing. So I thank you. And thank you for letting me be part of your family.
Yeah, this is really cool. And then I want to thank my dad over here, who's a real good boy. Good boy. Good Dad. Bring it in there.
Great to see you, Mr. Cross.
Yeah. Hey, thanks everybody for watching. We got a great lineup this week. Tomorrow we've got Silva Pananen, who is a Indo-Finnish cultural relocation mobility consultant. So that's going to be great. And then we've got and I always love when I try to come up with the whole lineup off the top of my head, right? And then we got Gary Connerly with Stephen McGarry from WPP coming on to talk about lump sums and the way that this contributes to the issue with internet moving brokers and other internet services where people can be taken advantage of sometimes. We've got the YP40 episode on Friday.
DeBauer.
We got Paul DeBauer from WHR Group, the president of WHR Group. We've got a really nice action-packed lineup. And every week, Janet, I don't know how we pull it together, but we pull it together.
Only by the grace of God.
And amazing people decide to share their lives with us here on camera, live, where they can't take it back. But it always works out. And we couldn't do it without the people who tune in and who are leaving comments like Molly Feldman. Appreciate you so much. We couldn't do it without these people, and we couldn't do it without wonderful guests like the ones we had today and all the ones we got coming up in the future. So, Janet, again, thank you so much. Dad, thanks for being on, buddy. Appreciate you all.
Happy Father's Day to you both, a day late.
Thank you so much, Janet. I appreciate you.
Okay,
take care,
bye.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Janet, can you end the broadcast for me? Because my
sure.
Frozen. Thanks. Too much input. It was too much.